Jen here, not cross Jen, coming to you from my kitchen for a change of scenery. I normally film in the crazy green and yellow living room, but I usually sit on the floor and it gets pretty achy really. I don't know why I was doing that. I think it's because I like to be at the back door where the light was really good. But the light, we have like a big window there that is just behind you in the kitchen. Rambly. Welcome to my WIP parade. So my first ever Flosstube video was a WIP parade and I don't even think I can face watching it. I thought about it. I thought about going back and having a look to see how many WIPs I had at that point, which was sometime in the middle of this year. But I'm not sure I can because it's pretty awful. I was really nervous. And it's always hard listening to the sound of your own voice too much, isn't it? But here we are, it's the first day of January 2021, so Happy New Year to everybody. And let's crack on, I think. So beside me on the chair here, I've got a pile of all of my WIPs, which actually all fitted really nicely on one of the kitchen chairs, because I've taken them out of their project bags and taken away like most of the threads and frames and hoops and things. Although a couple still are in their hoops. But yeah, we have got 28 WIPs to get through and I had some issues uploading my last video, so I'm really just going to dive on into it, which is strange for me, isn't it? Because I normally do like preamble, life updates, all sorts. But yeah, so we're going to do them in reverse order. I don't think it's reverse order. We're going to start from the oldest, basically. We're going to go oldest to newest. So my one very oldest WIP is from 2012 and the pattern is Dobby from an unknown eBay artist. So my friend Lucy bought me this when I was at university ages ago. So yeah, 2012, like 8+ years ago, I reckon. And here is where I'm at. So I didn't take it out of the hoop because I don't often take it out of the hoop, and there's only like a tiny corner of stitching that you're missing there. So hold it up together. Not a great deal still to do to finish it, basically, because a lot of it is the black shadows. So yeah, that's my very oldest WIP from 2012. It's Dobby, and I have put it on my WIP Go board to finish this year because it's ridiculous having a WIP from that long ago. Okay. Number two, always makes me laugh saying number two. Number two is my first ever Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage piece. And I'll insert a picture for you here of the full image. It's Freebie Maui Princess. Nino, can you not? It's Freebie Maui Princess, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Hannah Disney. And I'm stitching this on 25 count, easy count Lugana, 1/1 full crosses, called for DMC. So here is where that one is. And this one is also on my WIP Go board to get 2 page finishes this year. I think I might manage more, to be honest, because if it's my second oldest WIP after Dobby, so once I get Dobby done, I think I'll be pretty tempted to crack on with it. And that stitching there is a good 10+% already done. I can't remember the exact amount. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say, but Dobby is on black 18 count Ada, which is really hard to see, which is why I'm so slow at getting it finished. Number 3 is another Heaven and Earth Designs. Let me insert for you the picture of what the whole thing looks like. It's All Cats Go to Heaven by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jim Warren. And I've actually pulled this out this morning. What I better do actually is insert for you a picture of the whole finished top row of pages, which I finished last year in 2020. Because I've then put it in the Q-snap look so you can't see, so that this stitching kind of carries on up here and quite a way over to the end of the design. So I've come back down here now for the first page on the second row. So this is my PJ needle minder. So PJ was our cat sister of Bubbles who got run over. When was she got run over? In like April 2019, because I then started this on the 1st of May 2019 for my first ever PJ Mania, which was my little sort of challenge to myself to stitch every day in May on this piece. Oh gosh, sorry. Knock my book over. But yeah, I love that, absolutely love that, and I'm really enjoying, I've stitched like this next couple of blocks this morning, and I'm really enjoying the pastel colours after I've been stitching a whole host of brown, which I will show you in a little bit. That's on 25 count, easy count Lugana as well, 1/1 full crosses. Okay, number 4 is a little dimensions kit. Oh my gosh, it's a gold collection Scenic Lighthouse. So it's gonna look like that. And I'm interested to see where I am on this actually, because I put it on my WIP Go board for a finish this year as well, because it's my second oldest WIP that isn't a full coverage, because I'm not gonna finish any of those this year. So yeah, there's where I am. So if I keep my little face peeking through the middle, because I was pretty intrigued myself. So I've done way loads of the sky, which is all in half stitches only. You don't complete the cross for the top leg of the sky. So yeah, really want to get this one finished. This was a gift for me from Nicola. I'm stitching it on white Ada. It's 18 count Ada actually, but because it's white, it's perfectly fun to stitch on, not like the black 18 count Dobby Ada. So yeah, that was that one. Scenic Lighthouse little dimensions kit. That's number 4 out of 28. Next up, this one I think I marked to restart, and I probably told you in my last WIP Parade and my first ever WIP Parade that I was going to restart it, and I still haven't yet. But I'll insert a picture here of the whole thing, which is Journey by Stitch Rovia. So it says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I marked it to restart. Oh well, so anyway, here is where I got to. I marked it to restart because this Ada is really stiff and nasty to stitch on. I think that's the only reason, to be honest. I don't think I've done anything wrong in it, but actually I do have quite a lot of stitches done. And as I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking since I haven't restarted it yet, then perhaps I should just try to stitch on it. So I think at some point this year I really will try. For Christmas, Nicola bought me the Emma Congdon book of the cross stitch, like sayings for your soul, which is amazing. It's got really cool sayings in it, and there's one that I definitely picked out as my favourite one that I would love to start first. So my issue is basically Nicola keeps buying me all these amazing gifts that I want to start right away. And it's fine because she knows how cross stitching works, and she knows that I can't stitch everything she buys me, but I'd really like to. So yeah, I'm actually thinking I might keep slogging on with this. At least give it another couple of stitching sessions before I completely start over, because I have done a fair bit. So that's number 5 out of 28. The next one is one of my favourites. So this is Partridge in a Pear Tree by Joan Elliott. I'll insert a picture for you of the full thing. Whilst I swig my delicious hot Ribena. And here is where I'm at. So I really wanted to get to this in December actually, and I haven't yet, but I'm definitely going to do some more Christmassy stitching here at the start of January. So this will get some more time. I just completely love it. So I'm stitching this on 28 count. Is it linen? No, it's even weave, I think. It's Brittany in the colour Sand. And yeah, I just completely love it. So I really want to crack on with that. So that'll be staying out to definitely get some stitchy days in the next few days. Because I'm not having a whole Christmas go by where I didn't stitch on it. So I think I last stitched on this in July, for Christmas in July. Oh, and that's got a WIP Go goal of 5 days stitching as well. Sorry, wanted to say that. Next up, number 7 is Emily's House by Lindy Stitches. I'll insert a picture here of the whole thing. But I don't need to leave it up too long because I've stitched a real vast majority of this one, look. Look at that. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm using the DMC called for, so it's called for fancy flosses, but this was one that I think I was watching a Flosstube on a drive home one day. Well, when was it? September 2019. Stitching this, yeah, on a drive home from work. No, watching Flosstube on a drive. Lindy stitches Flosstube, and she showed this new design, which might not even have been that new at that point, and I just completely fell in love with it and had to start it immediately when I got home. It was like a gloomy Friday, wintry September gloomy Friday. So yeah, so all I need to do is finish off this bottom corner, look, and the border all matches up. I just got some font to do and some more of that green lawn. And then I am outlining the animals actually, because they get a bit lost in the DMC green that it called for. So see, I'm outlining these scales, and I've outlined the snail, and I will outline all these guys as well because they do get a bit lost. But yeah, I think house must be done. House is done, look. Yeah. Oh, and the moons are in Etoile, DMC Etoile. So actually, maybe it's not completely the call for DMC. Perhaps I went a bit rogue on some of it. I think most of it is. Let's say it's an approximation. So yeah, that's on WIP Go to finish this year, and that will not take me long at all. That will take a couple of stitchy days. So that's an exciting one. Next up, this one has had barely any love this year at all. This is Midnight Brew. I'll insert a picture for you of the whole thing. Midnight Brew by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I'm stitching it on 18 count hand-dyed Ada by KLT Charting. This colour is called Cabin Fever. And the reason this hasn't had much love is because it's a really small, easy to travel piece that I started stitching in hand when my hoop broke on a train to London for a meeting. Must have been ages ago because I haven't gone anywhere for a meeting for a long, long time. And yeah, because I haven't been doing much travelling, I haven't had a need to kind of grab this quickly and go anywhere. And I mean, it is just a big old whack of plain black stitching. So I don't have this on WIP Go, but we'll see. I fully want to stitch on all my WIPs in 2021. But yeah, it didn't make it onto WIP Go as a focus one necessarily. I started that in October 19. So I should say actually that we had Dobby from 2012, my freebie Maui Princess from 2018, and then everything else is in 2019, which is pretty good really. So since we're now at the very start of 2021, so I have actually myself managed to finish all of the other 2018 WIPs, which I'm pretty pleased with. This next one, number 9, is by Maria Brovko. I call it Hogwarts in a bottle. I think it's called Castle in a Bottle or something. I'll insert the picture here. And I'm quite sure I haven't stitched on this since I started it in October 2019, unfortunately. So I'm using 28 count blue even weave from KLT Charting. Oh, it's hard to see the stitches there actually, isn't it? In Pompey Tides is the colourway. So I did get a fair bit done on that retreat, and I made it up to sort of the top, that's the top cork of the bottle. So I'm kind of ready to really like stitch from that top cork down now, which is what I like to do. I've got some part threads. I really should try and give this one some love. But yeah, I started it with Claire at Milton Keynes retreat, Crafty Creative Claire she has some Flosstube videos and some really beautiful stitching. And I don't think that she stitched on it again. I haven't seen her kind of get it out, and I think if she did, then I'd immediately run to mine and start stitching on it as well, but because she hasn't, it's just got packed away. So that's Hogwarts in a bottle. I bought that on Etsy from Maria Brovko, so I just bought the PDF pattern on there. Okay, this next one had quite a bit of love this year. So this is a heritage kit. It's artwork by Peter Underhill, and I think it's called Home is Where the Cat Is. So it's a really cool design, and it's all folded up nicely. This is where I'm at. So Well, I say I worked on it quite a bit. I think it had a couple of days a few months ago, and basically I managed to get loads done in those couple of days, so it's quite fiddly with fractional stitches and things, but I very sensibly started it on a 28 count rather than an Ada, so I've got that middle hole to do my fractional stitches in. And yeah, it's really nice, and like the texture of the cat comes out lovely with the back stitching. So if I hold it up again, perhaps not a humongous amount to do. Now that like the bulk of the top of it is established, it'll be straightforward to, it'll be straightforward to count down and around. I think my problem to begin with was I started in the centre and I was trying to count up, oh excuse me, I've got like hiccups, counting up and diagonally, trying to get over here somewhere to the top left whilst doing fractional stitches and being quite nervous that I was going to misplace something. And that one's a gift for a different friend called Nicola who loves cats. But again, she used to cross stitch in a previous life, so she isn't expecting it anytime soon. But it would be just a nice one to get finished off the list. Okay, number 11 is Miss Christmas Eve by Mirabilia. So this is what she looks like. I'll zoom her right in for you. She is flipping beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm using the Called For linen, which is a Witchelt linen in Desert Sand. And I stitched loads on her this last couple of weeks. Probably not in the last week actually, but maybe last week before this one. I've done loads, look. So I've kind of made it out to the bottom left of her dress. Well, I'd started somewhere in the middle, then I counted my way up, as I tend to do, and then now I'm coming quite nicely down. I'm just much happier when I'm stitching downwards. Whoop, move her over a bit. So yeah, but that dress is no joke. So I honestly spent hours and hours of stitching whilst watching Downton Abbey with Rob in the run up to Christmas on this, but there's so many stitches in there. But absolutely stunning. So all the gaps will be where I've got loads of beads to go in. So yeah, really enjoying that. And that's got a WIP Go goal for stitching 5 days on that one as well. Yeah, put her down. Next up, number 12 is Winter Welcome Sampler by Stony Creek. I'll insert a picture here of the whole image. I stitched quite a bit on this one towards the beginning of December actually. Leave that neat reminder there, which is when I realised that I did not leave myself enough border on this fabric. So this is a 14 count Ada, coffee tea dyed by myself with help from Nicola one fun day when she came here and we made a mess in the kitchen. So yeah, I again started in the middle, worked my way up to the top left, started to panic, I didn't have much room, had a lovely friend of mine called Catherine overlock the edges for me as a matter of urgency because I can't afford any fray at all on this one. And I was missing some of the DMC actually, so I placed an order. So I've now got all the missing DMC. So yeah, I really wanted to crack on with this one and kind of come back to it towards the end of December as well. So I am tempted to do a bit more on that as well before that goes back upstairs into the WIP bags completely away. Well, it goes in my stash bag. So I've got like one active WIP bag that is next to the sofa where I sit. And then I've got 2 big bags, which is like stash and WIPs that I'm not working on. So yeah, that one, I'm not quite ready to put that away yet. This next one, number 13, is Rolodex Morning Sampler by Bendy Stitchy. So I'll insert a picture here. And I love this one, and this one is on WIP Go for a finish this year as well. Fold it back in a little bit. Sorry, I know that a lot of people do like iron all their WIPs, don't they, before a WIP parade, but I categorically don't. So here's where I am. So I'm more than halfway, I'm pretty sure. So like the halfway of the gate is the halfway point. I've come quite far over, look, with the tree. Yeah, I absolutely love this one. It's on a 32 count Belfast linen in this lovely pale blue colour by Sparkly's when I was part of her fabric of the month, so it doesn't have a name, it was 1 month's fabric of the month. and I am using mostly the cord for Gentle Arts. Yeah, absolutely love that. I haven't stitched that in a while, but I'm desperate to. So I will look forward to when that comes up on WIP Go. Next one is another kind of Halloween spooky one. So this is number 14 and it's Haunting Night by Doreen Jones. I'll give you a photo, or I'll insert a photo, sorry, of the entire thing. This fabric's way too big. Don't know why I haven't chopped that down. So here is my stitching. So I'm stitching this on 18 count Ada, dyed by Chromatic Alchemy. The colour is called Haboob. And I did buy some more actually because I love it. It's like a browny grey, it's showing up really true. So I did order some more and it's a totally different colour what I've got, but that's the world of hand-dyed fabric and it's still lovely. So I'm happy with that. So you can see I've done all of the top half. So then this is just the bottom half of stitching to do, and I've done a good chunk on this kind of first page of the bottom as well. I'm not far from turning the corner on that bottom border either. So yeah, I really want to get that one finished. So that is on for a finish, isn't it? Yeah, in box 12 of my WIP Go board. I'm just using the cord for DMC on that one. It's only a palette of like 6 or 7 colours, I think. That's maybe 8 or 9, but not very many. So yeah, super lovely. I really enjoy stitching that one. Then number 15 is the first Long Dog sampler. I've got 3 on the go. Oh, I was just thinking, this wasn't my first. My first was Spangled, which I finished in the year. So yeah, that's why this is the first one on the WIP list. So let me insert a picture for you of Game of Swans in all its glory. And I'm stitching this on a 28 count even weave, hand dyed by KLT Chartin in the colour Mistletoe Wreath. And the thread I'm using is a palette of Gentle Arts in like pinks and yellows, pastel-y colours, which Sarah Marnie chose out for me. She's from Marnie's Mixed Bag. So it's a very different Game of Swans. I haven't really seen another that looks like this with green fabric, yellow and pink thread, but I just was feeling creative, I think. So that's where I'm at. And this one's gone on the WIP Go board as well for me to add 10% stitches. Because it's on Pattern Keeper, I'll know when I've done a further 10%. I think this is like 14 or 15% finished. So it's not a huge stitch count because there's quite a lot of blank space in the background of this one. But yeah, beautiful. Next up is another Long Dog samplers. This one I think I could probably finish this year. Does it come up twice? I thought I put it twice. No, it's not twice on my WIP Go, it's once on my WIP Go to add 20% of the stitches. But let me show you a picture. So it's Black House by Long Dog Samplers. And I'm using a 16 count ecru Ada that I had in my stash, so it's quite a stiff, icky piece of fabric, but it's fine once it's in the Q-snap. And I did quite a lot of work on this year, so I think I'm at a good 40% finished at the moment. Yeah, I love it. It's really therapeutic stitching, this one actually, and it's really good that it's on Pattern Keeper. Hold it in a bit for you. So yeah, I wouldn't mind trying to finish that one, but the WIP Go goal is to add 20%. Next up is a Dimensions kit. Here it is. It's Savannah Birth Sampler with cute jungle animals on. And I wanted to stitch this piece for a little boy relative of mine who is definitely 2 years old already, I think. But it's one of those things, I don't feel like I should stitch it and give it to any different baby because I always plan to stitch it for this one boy. So I really do want to finish that up for him. And I have done a lot on this year actually. So this is where I'm at, using the kit Ada, it's a 14 count, and I stitched this one in hand, but the Ada is like holding its shape really nicely actually. This sun just never ends with yellow stitches. Look at that, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I've done lots. And I'm probably not far off halfway done now, because the other two animals, they aren't as full coverage as this lion at the bottom, so the background on the lion, look, is completely full coverage, so that was loads and loads and loads of stitches. So yeah, I feel a little bit more than halfway done, hopefully. Again, that piece is really good for travel stitching because I stitch it in hand and it's nice big holes, easy to see. The threads are all in the kit, but obviously I haven't really gone anywhere, so yeah, it hasn't had as much progress, but I will power through. That one is on the WIP Go board for a finish. I need to get it finished this year because it's just ridiculous. Oh, and I should say we're in June 2020 now, so that's when I started that one. So actually, I haven't been stitching it all that long, have I? But I've known for ages that I wanted to stitch it for that little boy. Okay. Next up is my third and final long dog, which is Pandemic. So let me insert the picture here of the whole of Pandemic. And then this is where I am, so I'm not taking it out of the Q-snap, but I'm using 28 count even weave by KLT Charting in Rum and Raisin, which is this beautiful mottled brownie with some white, amazing neutral. And this is near enough the very top of the design. So I've done 3 pages, I think. So that's a page, that's a page. Oh, maybe I haven't, actually that's not a whole page, is it? Perhaps this is the bottom of the third page. So when I started this was July 2020. Started it with Nadine from Nad's X Stitch, Charlotte the Woolly Hatted Stitcher, and Louise, Angelic Minxie Moo. And Nadine had this goal to stitch 1 page a month, and I was like, that sounds sensible, I'll definitely do that. And I obviously managed like 2 and a bit, and then gave up on it. When I pick this up, it takes me a little minute to get the hang of it because the stitches are teeny tiny, full crosses 1/1 on this 28 count. So it takes a little minute to get into, but then it stitches up lovely and I really, really enjoy it. So I have got this on the WIP Go board to finish 2 more pages. I'd really like to do more than that if I could. But I think really my focus for 2021 is to get my WIP number down. So when it comes to long dog stitching, I think I can finish Black House and make some really amazing progress on Game of Swans. So maybe the 2 pages is kind of as best as I'll manage on this one. We'll see though. This is another one of those things where if Nadine or Charlotte or Lou gets theirs out, I'll probably say, oh, I'm going to stitch that now as well. I'm a real copycat stitcher, basically. Oh, and I should say that that is using black DMC 310 and then the red is DMC 115, which is a beautiful variegated, like lighter red into a more deeper red. It's really beautiful. If you haven't seen it, you should buy one for sure. So that was started on the 1st of July 2020. Then next up is my other Mirabilia WIP, which is at the Met. I better insert a picture for you. I didn't grab the front image. So here's a picture of at the Met. And mine looks a little bit different. So I'm using, what's my fabric? 32 count vintage linen in a colour mocha. So it's a lovely neutral. And I have converted her skin to beautiful darker skin. Well, I've converted the whole lot really. So the dress I wanted to do in greens. The sash is going to be in pinks and greys. So yeah, it's amazing. Her hair sort of stops randomly there because it's a shed load of beading to go in and metallic threads probably. But yeah, I completely love her. So that's my take on At the Met, which I'd really like to get back to, but it hasn't made the WIP Go board because it's a fairly recent new start. So that one was started in July of 2020. Okay. Next up, WIP number 20 out of 28 to give you an idea of how much longer there is to go. This is my other Joan Elliott Christmas stitch, and I bet I need to insert a picture for you of Santa's gifts. And I'm stitching this on 32 count Belfast linen from Sparkly's. Again, it was a fabric of the month. And it's beautiful, beautiful colours, look like lilac-y blue. I really, really love this fabric. Started it on the 26th of July, so it was like Boxing Day in Christmas in July. But look, I've barely stitched anything at all. I don't know, I just really wasn't fancying it. I think I was missing a lot of the DMC that I needed. And my first stitches, I do have some more up here, look, in grey and light blues. Oh yeah, you can sort of see them there, look. They were disappearing into the fabric a bit. I don't know, they're in the middle of Santa, so it's not gonna disappear away once I stitch around the edges. You know, there's like more colours before it would merge into the background of the fabric. But yeah, I'm just not desperate to go back to that one. And because I love Partridge in a Pear Tree so much, I just really want to crack on with that one before I really get invested into this Santa's gifts. But for some reason in my head, I wanted to start it in Christmas in July. So that was what I did. Next one, number 21. I'll insert a picture for you. It's Beauty and the Beast by Aurora CS on Etsy, where I bought the PDF. And this fabric is ridiculously big. Look at this. Size on this fabric. So this is the whole top of the design look. So I think I fully plan to stitch. I bought a Toy Story one and a Minions one that one of those can definitely go alongside it. Well, I need to just trim down the fabric as well, but I guess I'll keep it big so it can stay in a Q-snap. Actually, top tip. So this is on 20 count white Ada, and I'm stitching it 1/1 full crosses, so it's quite delicate, but really fun to stitch. Really been enjoying that. And I think this one is about 10% finished as well. I think it's something like 33 or 36,000 stitches total. So this one went on for another 10% to be added for WIP Go, which should get me to the top of Belle, or the top of the Beast at least, a little bit further down. I can't believe how ridiculously big this fabric is. How very funny. But yeah, I won't trim it down if I want it to fit in an 11 by 11 Q-snap, which is kind of my preferred size, except for Hayes, where I use an 11 by 17. But yeah, nice colours in that, nice vibrant colours. That's Beauty and the Beast. Next up, number 22 is Jack's Bash by Plum Street Samplers. Here we go, and I've got the chart pack here to show you, like, I don't know why it's printed on a wonk, but it is. So I really love this one, and I stitched on this a little bit this year. So I started it on the 12th of August, and I came back to it at Halloween for a couple of days. So I've stitched quite a bit. So this linen is 35 count Edinburgh vintage mocha. Started this on the 12th of August in this year. And I'm using, oh bugger, what are the threads? I think I've got a couple of, oh yeah, they're Gentle Arts. I think I've got most of the Gentle Arts, but I was missing 4 of them. So I've used a DMC substitution for a couple of pieces. But like this black is Gentle Arts Raven, so it is variegated. But I'm quite lazy with stitching and I don't stitch 1x at a time, so it's not showing as variegated as it would if you were patient enough to stitch 1x at a time. That made it on the WIP Go for another page finish actually, so I think this is most of 1 page. I wouldn't just finish that and call it done, I would finish that and do a full page for the goal for that, for Jack's Bash. I really love that one. Next up is 23, which is the Dark Queen of the Sea Sal by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I'll insert a picture here of, well, they've gone choose your own now, so I'm showing you the bust covered up version that I plan to stitch with the purple face and the purple hair, because that's my plan, is to stitch the purples. And I essentially ran out of steam quite early on this look. Oh, Nina's just running through the garden chasing birds. How cute. So part 1 was the 3 fish, which I did. And then part 2 was a chunk of this torso stuff behind, but part 2 here isn't finished. And I think we're expecting part 5 to drop. Honestly, like anytime now really, because it's 3 or 4 PM here in the UK on the 1st of January. So I think the next part is coming soon. So yeah, I'm really ready to get back to that now and crack on with it. And I've put on my WIP Go to finish 2 parts of it. but I definitely plan to finish more, and I always plan to come back to it here in January as well. So this will definitely get sort of stitched on this month, and for WIP Go, one of the squares for finishing a part was called. And what I'm going to try to do is finish part 2 but fully finish the part 3 as well for the WIP Go goal, rather than cheating and saying, well, I finished off part 2, because most of that is already done. Oh, the fabric is the Called For fabric by Leslie at Under the Sea Fabrics. The colourway is Bewitched, and it's absolutely bloody stunning. Like tealy, bluey, purples. I do completely adore the fabric. I wish I'd bought a second piece of it, really. I started that on the 2nd of September 2020. Right, 4 more to go. So the next one is a teeny one. It's called Jingle All the Way by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I'm stitching this on 28 count Silver Moon fabric by KLT Charting. And I started this in hand as well, just as something I could have on the sofa next to me for when the cats sit on my lap and I can't use my Q-snap for a little while. And I really planned to get this finished in December, but for some reason didn't quite get round to it. So that will be a really quick finish once I can give that another few days. It didn't make it onto the WIP Go though. I started that on the 28th of September. Okay. Next up is another Heaven and Earth design. So I'll insert a picture for you of Evening by Leonard Afremov. And I started this in virtual October retreat on the 24th of October. Oh, Bubbles is having some breakfast, or not breakfast, some dinner from her bowl underneath me. I'm kind of folded in quite nicely to show you actually without opening up the whole fabric. So I finished page 1, which I'm really pleased about. So this is 25 count, easy count Lugana, 1/1 full crosses. And yeah, I managed to finish page 1, and some more of this really dark tree stuff was kind of easy block stitching for page 2 as well. So I've got a little head start on the page 2. And I always now feather into the next pages along as well, because I don't want to have solid page lines. Because if we're honest, by the time I finish stitching every page across this top row and come back down to the bottom, I'm probably going to have completely different tension, completely fluffy threads. So yeah. So that's my 3rd full coverage, Evening by Leonard Afremov. Here's Bubbles, you coming up? Definitely think about it, aren't you? Okay. And that one I started on the 24th of October. I think I already said that, didn't I? Sorry. Okay. Next up, WIP 26 is my 4th and final full coverage WIP. And I literally just finished a page on this morning. So this is Home Sweet Home by the Cross Stitch Studio. This is Bubbles. So I'll insert a picture for you here of the whole of Home Sweet Home. It's a really cute picture with an old couple in bed together. And I'm sort of stitching this as like a wedding gift to myself. Well, to myself and Rob, but Rob wouldn't appreciate a big cross stitch as a wedding gift. The size of this fabric compared to the page that I've done, it's going to be a complete beast. Fold it in. So yeah, this is a page finish, the first page on Home Sweet Home. It's all browns, so I was definitely pretty fed up of browns by the end of stitching this morning. I really wanted to finish it on New Year's Eve yesterday, but didn't quite manage it. Sorry, that's Nino coming back in the cat flap as well. So I finished it off this morning on the 1st of January, but I only put in 100 stitches this morning, so I'm treating it as a finish of a page in last year, so that in 2020 I can say that I did at least 1 page on all my full coverages. So yeah, pretty cool. Ridiculously big piece of fabric, and the pages are smaller actually. I don't know if you've noticed, but on the Cross Stitch Studio, so they only come across about 60 stitches, whereas on a Heaven and Earth they come across 80 stitches. So yeah. So I started that one on my birthday on the 5th of December. So I'm quite happy with that, getting a page finished amongst other stitching in much less than a month. Well, 5 days less than a month, I guess. Okay, 2 more to go. So this next one is Deck the Halls by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I'll insert a picture for you of the whole piece. I better take the chart off my needle minder. And this is my measly little start. So this is on 32 count Silver Moon fabric by KLT Charting. And I'm using the Core 4 DMC. That bit there is the MIS of mistletoe, if you couldn't tell, which of course you couldn't. So I started this on Christmas Day, just a week or so ago, with my sister-in-law, who was browsing Instagram, and she's not a cross stitcher, but she saw the image of the sal, the Deck the Hall sal, and she messaged me and said she really liked it. Like, would it be appropriate for her? She's done like a couple of kits before, but isn't a seasoned stitcher. So yeah, I said she definitely could. I said she'd just need to be careful counting between all of the individual letters, because that would be easy to make mistakes with the counting. But yeah, and it's funny because I started it and then I thought I'd better go slowly so that I don't steam ahead of her really fast. And then she's actually stitched on it quite a few days over Christmas and is way ahead of me. So I plan to get back to that probably today, actually. I was hoping to crack on with that as soon as I finished that page of brown on Home Sweet Home. And then the other start I had was on Boxing Day on the 26th of December. And it's Gingerbread Trio by Tom and Lily. So this is a lady called Melanie, who's a English lady but lives in France now, and she's pretty bilingual, and her kids are called Tom and Lily, so that's her little company name. And it doesn't look like too much in the picture, but I bought this at the Knitting and Stitching show at Ali Pali a couple of years ago, where she had a stall, or she had her shop, and I saw the model and it was amazing. So I really had to get it just from seeing the model. So I bought the kit from her. So it's stitched on 28 count opalescent even weave. So I don't know if you can see that, it's white opalescent. So it's got a lovely sparkle. And she also hand dyes her own threads. So the thread are called Atali threads. I've just got a random red tucked up there, look. But yeah, so what I planned to do when I started this on Boxing Day was I thought I could try and bash out a gingerbread man each day, which is 1, 2, 3, and then get the border done in another kind of day or two, and this will be done within a week, but obviously it's not. But yeah, that was my logic for starting another thing, a 28th WIP, was that I thought I could get this done really fast, and I really will try to. It hasn't made it anywhere near my WIP go, but it's another example of one that I just should be able to finish quickly. I do find it frustrating though, stitching with such a small hoop, because with my Q-snap, I like to rest it sort of on my knees when I've got my legs up, when I'm sat on the sofa. So I can stitch two-handed. So with this, I have to kind of hold the hoop with one hand and stitch with the other. Or I have been putting it in my Lowry, but I haven't enjoyed stitching it too much, basically. What I might need to do is try to see if I can get it in my Q-snap. Maybe just sort of stretching it. Maybe like the fabric won't quite be big enough for my 11 by 11 Q-snap, but it would be lengthways, so I might be able to do something with that, because yeah, I really want to stitch it two-handed. I'm just so much quicker two-handed. All right, so at 43 minutes, we're done. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm not gonna do any more waffling because I had a real job uploading my last video, so I want this one to hopefully stay as short as possible and go up soon. But yeah, thank you for joining me for my 1st of January 2021 WIP Parade, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I get on with all of my various goals through the year. So see you again soon. Bye.